Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka, Draziv. Guys, welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, tag, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And do invite your friends if you think that we are having some good content here. So help us grow the community. And if you're watching us from World Flat Earth Association or Flat Earth Research Network group on Facebook, do comment and tag your friends, because the group lives on Facebook cannot be shared. So the only way is to tag your friends and comment. And yes, World Flat Earth Association, 12 days ago, we reached 20,000 people. It's growing really amazing that we are having almost like 400 people a day joining our main group. And we are almost already reaching to 25,000 people. That's almost 5,000 people in the last 12 days. So make sure you guys are there on Facebook, on World Flat Earth Association. The good posts in those groups could reach around 10,000 people easily. So if you have those enough reacts, so there's a way of reaching so many people. And finally, if you're watching us from realtruthseekers.com or realtruthseekers.net, rts.video, RTS is one of our main sponsors for Heliopsychosis and most of our coming productions. So make sure you guys check out RTS. I have left also a link where you can join directly, and also we have a few groups there, some amazing features. So realtruthseekers.com, a big shout out. And yes, let's jump into our host and panelist. First, everybody know him from our production team, and co-host of Heliopsychosis podcast, Jeannie. How are you, Jeannie, brother?
Vikka, I'm doing fairly great, brother. Doing awesome. Thanks for the invite. This is a great topic to discuss. This is I don't know how long this story's been in public for, but I remember a long time ago having a conversation with my chiropractor who was really into the Bible about this. I'm like, hey, what about the Book of Enoch? Have you read that? It's absolutely amazing. And he totally shrugged it off, like, who cares about that? Nobody knew about it for all these years. Who cares now? And I didn't understand that. I was like, really? Are you kidding? But this is going to be a great topic, and we got a great panel. Thanks everybody for being here, and thanks to everybody in the chat. It's great to see you guys. Vikka, and I would also like to say congratulations to the World Flat Association. Yeah, the numbers jumped like so incredibly quickly all of a sudden. It's really, really great to see. You have an awesome team, and congratulations to you and everybody over there. It's awesome to see that. And thanks. Yeah, really cool. Very cool. And thanks to everybody. Thanks for being here. Great to see you. And good to have you back.
Oh yeah, definitely, Gene. A team effort. There are a group of people working behind the scenes to make that group work, and the others too. And
yes,
yeah, consistency is important, right? We were a shadow band for a year, for the last whole year. So we were one of the most traffic groups on Facebook, and the best part is it's a private group. It's not a public group, so that's the best part. Welcome, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, congratulations, guys.
And yes, our next panelist, you all know him too, Keith. How are you, Keith?
Hey, Vikka, doing real good. Looking forward to this show tonight. I don't know a whole lot about Enoch personally. I have read it and looked into it a little bit. And there was a time and season of my life I did that with the main 66 books by the Catholic approved Bible. But this Enoch definitely shed some light on the flat Earth reality that we observe, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say, and just see how this applies to what we're learning. It's like pieces of the puzzle, and when I learned about Enoch and read it, it's like, yeah, that's another piece of the puzzle that confirms a lot of the things that we see as part of our flat Earth. So good to be here.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother, because I think every scripture is kind of a part of a piece that is important to add into to get the big picture. I've been always saying that. And so amazing, brother. Great to have you. And our next panelist, you all know him too, astrologer, our friend from Israel, Harry.
Yeah,
you enjoying, brother? Yep.
Thank you for having us here. I just want to tell you I'm so excited because my father-in-law was one of the team who found those scripts on Qumran, on the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Yep.
So he was part of the team, and we talk about it a lot of times, and I went actually there, to Qumran. And yeah, it's interesting, I've been very, very, very trapped, by the mystery of Enoch. In Hebrew it's said Hanoch, and it's a very common name in here as well.
Okay, so it's not like a part of the fantasy. Many wants to believe that, right? That it's a part of fantasy. So right there, the name being used also in that part of the world says that there is some authenticity to that name and to that scriptures, right? Great to have you, brother. Yep. And our final panelist is she's been here last time also in one of our podcasts. She's also a moderator in our groups and also there in our chat and adds to the debate and discussions. And it's great to have her from Holland, if I'm not wrong. Evelyn Gold. How are you, Evelyn?
Hello, good evening or good afternoon. I'm doing good, and yeah, I always thought the Book of Enoch was like a really holy book, which was not really, for the public and so. But actually, you can buy it online, so I did. And yeah, it's an awesome book. It goes into a bit more detail than you expect, especially about the luminaries, the stars, the sun and the moon, all the movement around the earth, and so yeah, I'm gonna share some of that with you later.
Oh yeah, awesome, Evelyn. It's great to have you. Yeah, before we jump into the topic, we just want to make clear that this is nothing about religion. We are looking this from a research perspective, because we will be doing many other different cosmologies and scriptures here on the podcast. So we want to make it just sure that we are not looking into a religious aspect. We're not trying to push any religion. We just, for the sake of debate and for research, and as it connects to our shape of the earth, the most important part. So that's being said, yes, Book of Enoch. It is quite interesting that in 1700s they found these scrolls, and the way the timeline is being shown is quite interesting. Like it suggests that was the grandfather of Noah, and the seventh from Adam, and it takes the timeline too much ahead of what we know about the Abrahamic cultures. So, and there are different debates about the authenticity, and it's that some believe from where it comes and from where it's been taken, in comparison to the Bible. So there are quite a mix, different reactions. Like there was some guy on the post was like trying to debate you, Evelyn, right? What was really happening there about that?
Oh, I had the one that I reacted to. I think he made a comment.
Also to one of another person from the chat called Gail Todd. He was also debating with her about because there was a two-sided team about one saying that it's comes from the Bible and the other saying that it's not, and
yeah, because the Bible is inspired by God. That's what they say. The Bible is inspired by God, and the Book of Enoch is written by men. It's not inspired. So I was willing to disagree with that, because I mean, if you're gonna take the Bible as inspired by God, then you will learn that in the Bible they say that Enoch was taken up into heaven by God himself. So I mean, if that is not inspired by God, I don't know what is. So so yes, I was willing to disagree that the Book of Enoch, I mean, he was dictated to by the angels, apparently, and he wrote everything down, and he was even allowed to look into the tablets, into the holy tablets, that with their own writings there in heaven. So I mean, more inspired by God than that, I don't know what is. So yeah, that was my point. And yeah, it was quite clear to me that yeah, it's a kind of event that you can sort of fill in some blank or spaces in the Bible where you read something and you're like, okay, this was a bit too short, but what happened here? What happened here? What happened to Enoch? Where did he go? What did he do? So yeah, in the book we are introduced to what he did and what he wrote and what he saw, and
yeah, right, Evelyn. But the thing is, yeah, it's not that all the events that's been happening in the Abrahamic religion, all the events from all the prophets, from Adam to everyone, together it's in itself is the Bible, right? So why shouldn't it be different, right? It's a part,
Yes,
maybe it's included in some part or no, or in some cultures, but it's a part of the people who didn't want it to have interest that it should be included wasn't included.
Indeed, I have learned that the Book of Enoch is still included in the Ethiopian Bible. They haven't taken it out. But yeah, because it contains so much precise information of how our Earth works. So I think that's part of the
reason, yeah.
reason in which it's been edited out of the Bible, that we are allowed to have by certain powers. So that we don't learn about those things.
Yeah, but it's not that that the timeline, if we speak about the Bible, about being around 2,000 years old, and here the Enoch is supposed to be said around 5,500 years ago, right? So the timeline differences there says a lot. That why in some part it wasn't used, or maybe some parts where the Bible is trying to describe comes from the Enoch. Could be, right?
Yeah, because Enoch, we know that Enoch is, in the book of Genesis already. So I mean, the book of Enoch just is written in his lifetime. What he wrote about was what happened before he was even born. And of the fallen angels and the giants that came out of those
Yeah, the beast.
encounters.
Yeah.
Those encounters with the, and about how Enoch was asked by the Watchers. The Watchers are a class of angels to talk, to bring their case to God, to ask God for their forgiveness. And so he did. So he did do that. He went, because the 200 angels that came down to earth, they were punished, and they were not even allowed to have contact with God. So Enoch was the sort of intermediate character there to convey the messages, which he did, but well, without avail, because the punishment was decided, and that was that. And he wrote about all that he saw, because the angels took him actually they took him around the earth. So, and he wrote everything he saw. He asked about everything, about the luminaries, where they were, what they were, and
yeah, definitely we're gonna go in detail about the luminaries a little bit more ahead. What I wanted to discuss also was that it is said that 622 years after Adam was Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And according to that, it's supposed to be one of the oldest scriptures, scriptures, Hebrew connection scriptures, right?
Yeah.
Also, there were some copies in Aramaic. There was some copies in Greek.
Yeah,
just before the Christian eras. Yeah.
Yeah, there were copies found in the caves in the.
In Qumran, yeah, that's what Harry was mentioning. Harry, you want to go ahead and?
Yeah, if you want, because the interesting thing is like understanding Hebrew or ancient Hebrew. The word God is God or goddess, right? Gods and goddess. And Bnei Elohim, which is mentioned in Enoch, means the sons of the gods, okay? And if you look at the cosmology, which shows in Enoch's books, means, it's the flat earth, right? With the areas of water, with the heaven, dwelling place of the gods, and under that the waters, above the firmament, which is no inhabitants, and in what you call heaven or sky, or where the moon and the sun are in orbit, there used to be a lot of, or maybe still having there in orbit, a lot of huge islands and territories. So the son of the gods, right, which were another breed of humans, they used to live in there, and they become the watchers of the new humanity after the Hyperboreans. That's what I'm understanding. So watching means they've been taking care of the Homo sapiens, right? But because the tellurical, energy, astral energy of the earth, they feel the temptations to breed with a woman. What's happened when you breed a lion and a tiger, but they never, connecting on nature? There are slightly genetically differences in between a lion and a tiger, right? And when you breed it, you get a liger, which is a huge cat, right? Almost twice the size as the lion. The same happens there. Different, humanities breed with this humanity with slight difference, genetically. So they generate giants, almost twice the size of the regular humans. That's simple, and that says, on these scriptures, not the way I explaining you, but more or less they let you understand. Then there were other humanities living on kind of satellites, orbiting, what we call Earth. You see it in the movie Avatar. I don't know if you remember that movie. They show it, that things in a kind of negative priming, right? Because this type of creation was after the Hyperborean. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's the way Enoch is explaining that when he's taken to the ends of the earth and he's seeing those beasts and the giants and plants and animals and different kind of species, and he's speaking about actually he's literally speaking about different civilizations that exist, right? And of different dimensions, and why can't it be giants, right? And if we have even people today that are huge people, so why not 2 or 3 times higher, right?
What we call, the Tartarians, which is wrong, which mean another humanities, they were the descendants of those giants, but they've been evolving, spiritual evolves. I have a theory, some people have a theory that those Tartarians, they don't used to live in here. They used to live among us, a lot of other humanities, but they used to go to they used to come here for recreation in order to help, the Homo sapiens to evolve. They create those cathedrals in order to heal the humans and to give, technology to the humans. That's the reason the earth was reseted, right? About the time of Enoch, of the time of Noah, it was the first, huge reset with the flood, right? Because
Right.
the humanity was, totally, degenerated by those, not all the Nephilims. They were primitive and bad and violent, but yeah, it was a lot of it was an unbalance on here. So we have to go to the first reset, and then, those parasites who took the power on Earth, or astral entities, they continue resetting the Earth in order to control the Earth till now.
Oh yeah, different ways, yeah, to control
Yeah, for
energy
the last
arrest and
6,000,
yeah.
for
Go ahead.
the last 5,000 years, they've been controlling us, right? And what we call prophets, they just knew what, because everything was planned by those parasites. That's the reason you can see the future in the movies, right? They're showing you what will happen, because they know. They've been planning everything. They've been planning the last pandemics. They've been planning everything around. So you can see it in the movies. But going to the topic, back to the topic, on Enoch
Yeah,
cosmology.
Harry, just speak
Yeah.
a little bit away from the mic because it's getting so many pop sound. No problem, just a little bit away. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So going back to the topic, you see the flat Earth cosmology on Enoch, right? With the waters above, the heaven with the gods are dwelling, and the Sheol, the hell, and you see the abyss of the waters,
the
and the
angels.
pillars of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see everything. You know, this is described as today, and you see the Antarctica as well. You know, on Enoch's cosmology as well.
Oh yeah.
But because the Earth exists before the Genesis, right? In a different way. The Hyperborean civilization doesn't have, you know, no sun and no moon. In the Genesis, they just create the sun and the moon because it was a kind of genetically modified human in the inhabited Earth. So they need the light during the day and during the night.
Yeah, and if you see, especially, okay, apart from the way he explains Enoch about the places and the animals and the giants and the beast and the different directions and the portals. So apart from that, he's morely he's speaking about the luminaries and the way the luminary works. You know,
because they put the luminaries and the sun and the moon in order to control the humans and to control the time. Before that, you know, the time they were counting the time in a different way. Before the new creation, the genocide.
So you mean to say that this is an artificial light sources, right?
Yes, that's what Enoch's saying on the book.
In which chapter and how he's saying that it's an artificial that go again.
Yeah, when in the Enoch's books or the Bible says that the God, which it's a bad translation because they are the gods which are cosmical genetic engineers, which is, you know, designing not this world, all the realms and all dimensions as well, but, you know, we translate as God, which is not God. It's not one entity. It's not one, you know, old man on heaven with the beard, right? There are, you know, cosmic genetical engineers, right? Designers. They are creating worlds, right? They are evolved entities from 13 or 20 or 30 dimensions, right, of consciousness. They are so evolved that they used to call them God, because they're totally connected with the higher self. When I say cosmos, I'm not talking about space and time and galaxies.
Yeah, cosmos is right? the heavens. Yeah, everything above is cosmos, right?
Yeah, close to the inner divinity, right? So that's what the book is talking about. Of course, they've been translating the world God as God in order to control. But these luminaries and sun and moon is a kind of control system. Because if you look at the perfect, you know, East European clock, you see exactly the way they designed this Earth, this time, you know, the timing between the luminaries, which is their projections. There are, you know,
yeah, exactly. If you've seen, for example, if you've seen Enoch, also it's describing the movement of the sun, the movement of the moon, and the phases. That's what it's explaining through the way the luminaries works according to Enoch. And he's speaking about the portals on the left from the east and the portal to the west. You know, so the way the sun comes in and goes in, out, and it's a way of explaining. But I don't know how the people who believe in square earth, because it said 4 directions are there, so it's a square earth because it's going from left to right, from portal to portal. It's their way of taking it as a square earth model. But what is happening in reality is that it's just showing the 4 sides, the 4 directions. Because if you see as a Mount Meru in the center, and if you have a circle around, and that circle could be divided into 4 parts, and the 4 directions could be 4 north, east, west, south, right? So,
and he's describing the Antarctica as the edge. Describing Antarctica, you can just touch the firmament in Antarctica. That's the reason they don't want us to go into Antarctica, because you can touch the ceiling, right?
That, and there's a way out. There could be other ways. It goes further out than we think, and there's other stuff out there too.
It's not a way out. It's sealed, totally sealed. maybe you can go out, on underground tunnels to other domes around. We don't know about that things, but you can touch the firmament in there.
Well, how far away is it from the shoreline where we can see? Like off of Argentina. How far off the closest coastline to the mainland? How far away is the firmament? Because however farther away that is, that's a circle around the Earth, and it's not just ice. It's probably not just ice. There could be a ring of ice that melts away eventually, and they're just saying, "Oh, don't go there. You freeze. It's scary. Nothing but penguins."
It's so cold in there. The same cold, the same temperature as if you go above, right?
If you what?
Yeah, Enoch also speaks about reaching to the dome, right? But you think it could be so near the dome?
Yeah, in the end of Antarctica, you reach, the dome.
Well, they got the ships on radar at 400 miles past the coastline, so there's waterways somewhere in there to go further inland somehow.
Yeah, what comes to my mind is the nice photo on the page on the World
World Flight Association.
Yeah, that nice photo on the title page, on the front page.
The Monte Urbano map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's showing a very lush green plains and lands. You can't see an ice ring around it. So I think at some point it was warm enough, tropical temperatures, and fertile land.
Well, they got Admiral Byrd talking about that, and then there's a few other videos where people talk about landing on lakes and plains and finding all kinds of vegetation out there that they never saw. So if there's trees and stuff like that out there that they haven't seen, so maybe there's animals and other things as well. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Also, you can see on the map, if you zoom in, you can see very pictures of very strange creatures walking around or swimming around or whatever.
Both.
So it's very peculiar.
Yeah, it's intriguing. Like Keith was saying, you could spend 2 years looking at that map and still not be done figuring it out.
Yeah.
Or questioning it and being amazed by it. Right, Keith?
Yeah, exactly. That map is so detailed, and I think it was probably very accurate for its time. And you guys know me; I don't really buy any of the timelines, whether it's from that map or from the scriptures. I just don't buy them. I mean, anything from the last 150 years from the government scriptures, I believe like 95% of that is all bullshit. I mean, just absolute lies.
Great.
I would trust the Book of Enoch over a school textbook.
Yes.
I just don't think anything that we've been taught from the government is accurate. I think most of it is just to dumb people down, really, so that they learn to accept what they are told and not question anything. And that's what's good about what we're talking about tonight is I think all of us and people who are into flat Earth, we look at ourselves more as seekers, and a lot of other people look at themselves, and even if they don't, I would call them believers. And I'm not a believer by any means, but I'm definitely a seeker. And the believers are like the guy that Evelyn was talking to, and it was saying, hey, no, that Bible's that's not inspired. All these books that I believe in, those are inspired, but Enoch's not inspired. I mean, that's typical religious pride, religious arrogance, to think that what's right and someone else is wrong. Whoever's listening tonight, I would just say try thinking about yourself more as a seeker rather than a believer, because a believer ends up with a closed mind and blocks themselves off to a lot of the wonder and beauty and mystery of this place where we live. So, I'm glad to be here like I said, I don't know a lot about Enoch, but I'm glad to be here discussing this tonight and continuing to seek.
Keith, you know what? It strikes me that you say seek, right? And that's really what we're doing. We're unturning the stones from this narrative. And people that believe, they're waiting for the next story to believe. And that's not what we're doing here. We're getting rid of the nonsense, and then the truth surfaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said.
Okay.
Oh yeah, one of the best part also about the Enoch is that he mentions so clearly also about the movement of the luminaries, you know, in a way just saying what is the earth is actually really stationary. And he also speaks about the sizes of the sun and the moon being one, like the earth, like the sun not being so huge and far, and also the moon, and how they are same size. Is literally, you imagine a scripture from 5,000 years ago is telling you that the earth is stationary, and the luminaries how it's moving, and how the sun and the moon moves, right? So the other thing also about those portals, he speaks about that the sun comes from the portal from the east and goes in the portals in the west. So it could be about just the dome of the present dome that we are in, and it's just going in and out of that dome that it gets that it looks like that, because I don't just believe that there's one dome. There could be more domes, right? Because it's possible that we are separated also, could be physically, or another kind of barrier. But there are some scriptures which speaks about these different domes, you know. So that's why maybe when Enoch is trying to explain these portals where the sun comes in and then goes, you know, and comes out from the another. Because, yeah, what are your takes, guys? Go ahead.
I remember talking about the dome. It reminds me of like one bubble in a pool. Like when you first fill a pool and there's like trillions of bubbles all over, stuck to the sides. It could be just in one of them.
Yes.
That idea doesn't bother me. It sort of reminds me of space. You know, these guys explain space like it's like so vast, and you know how it goes. That story's out of control and fake though. But I don't see why we couldn't just be one of a trillion bubbles, different size, different things. I don't give the creator any limitations. All these limitations on what, where, when, how. That's all from school and TV. And I kind of rejected all that naturally. So the clues are there, but not the real information. You know?
Yeah, the book that I've read recently that makes mention of multiple Earths. That was the Adam and Eve. Where no, not the book. Sorry, not the book of Adam and Eve. It was the legends of the Jews. There, mentioning that Adam was.
We hear you very low, Evelyn. You need to.
Sorry, a bit closer to the mic.
Yeah, go ahead.
There you go.
Yeah, and in this reference, was saying that Adam was placed out of the garden and into another earth. They had another name, and I can't. I do have it on my pad, so I can really. Oh, not this one. I have it on my Kindle.
Yeah, till you find that, because in the yeah, do you find it?
Oh yeah. I do have to go back to the beginning of the book. Ooh.
Okay. Here.
I have to find the.
Okay, yeah. So till Better Than Gold was asking which scriptures Vikka. Most of the Abrahamic scriptures, Better Than Gold. You just have to dig in, and you're gonna find they speak about being various domes, and there's also been some distances been given in walking distance of in days and years is a way of comparing the distance between the different domes. Yeah, it just needs to be digged in and looked into. You're gonna find it, brother. Yeah, did you find it? Okay, the other thing also I wanted to mention, right? So if Enoch is mentioning about the luminaries and the way it's been moving and the way the sun and the phases are going through it, so how are the people making the earth a square earth? Also, this is one of the things I really don't get it, so because as I said, you could make a circle and draw a cross in the middle, and you have the four sections of it. And then when Enoch speaks about different portals, 12 portals, 3 on every side, so if you put around those 12 portals, it becomes a circle in the end, the way Enoch is describing, right? Also, every position, like from the north, have its own portals, and the way the winds and everything comes from there, the rains, the heat from another part, so it's all have from the north, from the south, from the east, from the west, and the way everything is being like we are in the middle, and all this four direction with all those 12 portals around, sending winds and rains and snow and good weather too, and and also disaster and storms, and so we look like we are in some kind of a right.
Yes, I've seen a depiction of the square flat Earth, and I think it's because they were saying yes, because it's in the Bible that the four corners and this and that. So yeah, four corners, but on the inside it's round. And I'm asking, well, okay, you have the usual map that we see the layout on a square paper, and then I'm asking, okay, so how do you circumnavigate the Earth? I mean, what do? You just go down, just go to the left, and then pop up on the right hand side. That's completely yeah, it's completely rubbish.
I kind of hard to decipher nowadays what's controlled opposition, where somebody is just giving misinformation about flat Earth. I've noticed in several groups the last year, almost 2 years, of people coming in pretending to be flat earthers, but then putting out information that's just so far out there that we don't observe it at all. Like we've all talked about that flight from JFK to Moscow, and that you can see the sun going into circuit in a circular pattern. But I have no problem with the idea that there's a square with a circle in the middle of it. I mean, I know there's one of the somewhat Christian religions in America that on most of their temples, they have a square with a circle in the middle. And I believe that's the ancient, Harry, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the ancient Hebrew depiction, is that it is a square with a circle on the inside. But this idea that people are using Enoch to say that, oh, well, it's flat and it's square and the sun goes into this portal and the sun only travels straight across the sky, I just, something in me says that's almost controlled opposition of a false narrative to try to muddy the waters and confuse people that are looking into flat Earth.
Yes, and there are a lot of confused people around, because I've come across a couple of them that are defending this square type of Earth, where the paths, the path of the sun and the moon, they are in straight lines across it, and I'm like, okay, but they're not connecting. They just disappearing on one side and appearing on the other, like a magic portal that beams everything to the other side.
Yeah, I've ran into a few people like that. They're very dogmatic about their beliefs in Enoch.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, well, that just doesn't line up with what we actually observe in the
No,
sky.
it doesn't work.
The thing is, the circle in the middle and then the square outside, and then again the circle continues. They don't want to see the circle that continues, right? The way it's shown, like the way it's shown also in many different cultures, because what they're showing, those square constructions, they're showing the Mount Meru is just a representation of Mount Meru. That's it. That's nothing. It's not the whole Earth representation. It's showing the North Center. It's showing the place where everything moves around it, that everything is attached to it. That's why it has significance in most of the culture, and that's why we see it in different culture and constructions and archaeological stuff, that kind, because they are trying to represent. They're not showing you that the Earth is square. And as we spoke about that too, like the Pac-Man thing, we know there are people pushing the Pac-Man Earth, a lot of them, and we know that it's not true, because the Earth, the sun is being observed 24 hours a day. Okay, for me it's maybe past midnight, but for somebody it's past midday, right? The sun is being seen all the time. It's not that the whole Earth, even for a minute or two or an hour, the sun is not seen anywhere in this world. It's not happening.
That's not the same for the moon, though. Moon disappears.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
touching the ceiling. It's a bit higher than the sun. And when it's touching the ceiling and it's disappearing, it's apparently disappearing part of the moon, right? And it's getting, when it's getting away from the ceiling, you see the whole, moon. It's easy.
Oh yeah, that's why the square Earth, because these people, they use Enoch scriptures to defend their square model, but they cannot explain anything other than these portals on the both sides, according to them, and the sun moving in a straight line, or the luminaries moving in a straight line.
Well, I think whether it's Enoch or any other scripture, that's always open to interpretation. And I know in the Christian world, if you got 20 experts together on prophecy that are about the end times, none of them would agree on anything. And so it's like the people that are on in the Book of Enoch, it's all open to interpretation. And I think we need to compare the interpretation, what's written in the scriptures of Enoch, to our observable reality, which is that the sun, like you said, the sun can be seen 24 hours a day going into circuit. We can't just say, oh, well, I believe it's a straight, just traveling in straight lines because Enoch said that. Well, that's just blind faith. You have to open your eyes and see what's actually in the sky above your head.
Exactly, and the way they explain about the portals, the way that it's working for the Pac-Man from east to west, there should be a pause, a rest, right, for the sun.
Yes. What you need to think about is that when you look at the picture of Earth from above, the north, it's like you were looking at the north, south, east, and west from a perspective of the center of the land, which was Israel. So the west would be the Americas, the east would be the Indies, the China and all that, the south and Africa, and the north would be past the North Pole into that area that's mostly water. So when you look at the sun, it's like it's traveling to the west, the west, and to the north, and then coming back around through the east, and then traveling to the south. And that kind of perspective. So then it explains, and that's why that's all the what was it?
Yeah,
When the sun rises in the heaven, he comes out of that fourth constellation, 30 mornings in succession. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. The chariot on which he okay, I'm just going to read from the beginning because I'm going to mix it all up. Okay. First, this is Enoch, chapter 72. First there goes forth the great luminary, named the sun, and his circumference is like the circumference of the heaven. That means that it's traveling around the firmament, around the heaven, around the sky.
the word says it there in itself, yeah. Circumference.
Yeah, circumference, yeah. And he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. The chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north, in order to reach the east, and is so guided that he comes to the appropriate constellation and shines in the face of the heaven. In this way he rises in the first month, which is Nisan, I think that's April, in the great constellation Aries, which is the fourth of those 6 constellations in the east. And then okay, the whole thing goes on to explain in that manner, and it's really a bit complicated. In that 4th constellation from which the sun rises in the first month are 12 decans, meaning windows.
Or portals, yeah.
Yeah, from which proceed a flame when they are opened in their season. When the sun rises in the heaven, he comes out of that 4th constellation 30 mornings in succession, and sets accurately in the constellation in the west of the heaven.
Yeah, so here what it's trying to explain, it's the day and the night, and how the day goes longer and the night becomes shorter, and the night goes longer and the day becomes shorter. So how well it's happening in that circle.
Yes, indeed, it goes on to explain how the day is lengthened and the night is shortened, and on that day the day is 2 parts longer than the night, and then it goes on like that. I mean, you really have to sit down and read it in a relaxed mode, otherwise you won't get it. And it goes on and on, and that day sun rises from the 2nd constellation, so it's
it's nice. It's to see that it's not so complicated in a way, the way it's been shown about the movements and the days and the how the days are happening and the nights, and how it's like gaining and losing light, and how it's divided into fractions according to the day. And the same thing is happening also with the moon, right? So it's in a way it's showing that it's a precise design. In a way it's showing it's nothing like how they say about we lost in space and the whole thing is moving around us and all the crap they try to sell us, right?
It gives a very detailed explanation of how the moon wanes, and also the
wax, right,
and the light, how much light it receives, and
the same way it's explaining the light about the day, it explains also the receiving of light and of the moon in a way. It's not it doesn't mean in a way reflection, but the way of charging itself and through the sun's position, right? It is explaining from which portal is coming, so it's following in the same portal the moon. That's why it's gaining and losing light in those 28 days, and that way it tries to explain the cycle or the phases of the moon, right? In
chapter 78 here, The names of the sun, because it's got multiple names, the names of the sun are these. The first, or Jairus, and the second, Thomas. That's shining and heat. The moon has 4 names. The first name is Asonia, the second Ebla, the third Benes, and the fourth Ere. These are the 2 great luminaries, and their circuit is like the circuit of the heaven, and they are the same size. So now there's, in the circuit of the sun, there are 7 portions of light, which are added to it more than to the moon. So the sun is 7 times brighter than the moon. And in definite measures, it is transferred till the 7th portion of the sun is exhausted. They set and enter the constellations of the west and make their revolution by the north and come forth through the eastern constellations on the face of the heaven. So when the moon rises, 1/14th part appears in the heaven. So that's the new moon. And on the 14th day, she completes her light. That's when
like the full moon. Yeah.
And 15 parts of light are transferred to her till the 15th day, when her light is completed, according to the sign of the year. And she becomes 15 parts, and the moon grows by the addition of 14 parts. And it goes on like that, talking about parts this and parts that. So it's quite
yeah.
And okay, Uriel showed me another law. When light is added to the moon, and on which side it is added to her by the sun.
Yeah, it speaks about the south.
Yeah, and it's about the positioning of the moon in relation to the sun, where the light is added.
Right.
So after the full moon, the moon is on the other side of the sun. So the other side of the moon gets the light added on that side. During all the period in which the moon is growing in her light, she increases it to herself opposite the sun. Till the 14th day, her light is completed in the heaven. And when she is fully illumined, her light is completed in the heaven. On the first day, she is called the new moon, for on that day the light rises upon her.
Exactly. The way it's explained, the way she's following the sun through different portals from 1 to 6.
Yeah.
And how it's synchronized with the days, with the movement of the sun, with the movement of the moon, and the way of the fractions of the light receiving.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, it's explained in a really amazing way in the Book of Enoch, especially about the luminaries. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah. Guys, we're just gonna take a short break, and we're gonna continue. All right, guys.
Okay. See you later.
Excellent.
There's not one authentic picture of this oblate, pear-shaped spinning ball that they claim we live on. Sorry to tell you, the only thing that's been to space is your imagination. There is no such thing as space. For thousands of years, all ancient civilizations knew the earth was flat. Until 500 years ago, they took the word of God and they turned it upside down. They said, no, we revolve around the sun. The sun's in the middle, and we're spinning through space and wobbling with the sun at over 600,000 miles per hour. When an organization of pseudoscientists tell me to go completely against what all my senses tell me, that we're stationary and flat, I see it's flat. It's immovable. And I'll go outside. When I send a camera up without GoPro or fisheye lens. When I send a balloon up 100,000 feet and it shows the horizon flat, I can't go against that. When I see skylines 60 to 100 miles away, when spherical geometry says they should be behind the curve, all this stuff isn't adding up. There's not one authentic picture of this oblate, pear-shaped spinning ball that they claim we live on. I'm sorry to tell you, the only thing that's been to space
I remember my
is your imagination. There is no such thing as space.
You guys land on the moon,
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
what?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories. Well,
All right, welcome back, guys. That trailer was from Flat on the Curve, or the last trailer that was made by RTS, realtruthseekers.com. Amazing trailer, yeah. And yeah, welcome back. So we have Jeannie with us, we have Keith, and we have Harry with us. We also had Evelyn. Maybe she jumped out. So I'm going to give a quick shout out to the people in the chat. There is Jess Palmer, and then there is Stephanie Campbell, and there's somebody from Facebook, there is Evelyn, then there's Tommy Rogers, hey brother, long time, and then there is J Daddy, hey brother, namaste, and Dr. Frankenstein, hello brother, better than gold, and then we've got a few people more from Facebook. Then there is Alan Nostrand. A big shout out to Alan Nostrand for uploading our documentary Flat in the Curve. And then there's more people from Facebook. Then there's Rachel Everson. Hey Rachel. And there's Cover to Cover with Jeremy Pierce. Hello. A few more people from Facebook. And yeah, so Enoch. And this is the thing. So Enoch also speaks about the stars. I'm having a echo, so can you everybody mute your mic, please? Yeah. So what I was mentioning, like, Enoch also speaks about this movement of the stars and the luminaries, and how that when they are not doing their part, they are thrown into the hells of the earth, and that's what also they call the angels or the fallen angels, which are cast down to the hell in a way. So if these luminaries are in a way, like, supposed to do their jobs on time, everything, and if not, they're going to be sentenced to the end of the earth. Yep. Any idea you guys have heard about it according to their... Yep.
Yes, according... I didn't prepare for that. So yes, the luminaries, they are described as sentient beings who are supposed to keep their positions on the sky. There's another book called what was it now? Anyway, it describes that the whole of history and the whole of creation, it's the whole of the story is written in the stars. So actually, you can tell the whole story with the position of the stars.
The whole, yeah.
So all the stars have to be in their right positions, because if they're not, I mean, it doesn't comply with the whole story. So
Yeah, so maybe something could be like in a way true, like what Harry was mentioning during in the start of the show about being controlled, and
yes,
someone is trying to control every movement, and if it's not precise,
yes,
so quite interesting, right?
yeah. The fallen are referred to as coming out of, when they weren't supposed to come out. So that's why they got punished and down into Tartarus. But also these angels, 200 angels, are the ones that came down to Earth, and they were supposed to take care of the people, so to speak, but they had other plans. So out of the 200, I'm going to read now from the Watcher
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Before Harry, you wanted to add something? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying that if you make a astrological chart, right? It's you see how a person can. Sorry, my dog is driving me crazy here. Stay here. When you make a chart, right, and you take the birth and the position of the stars in the place a person was born, and you can see how his unconscious mind is working, and how the person is, the character, the elements, and everything. You can see his past when you see a chart. I don't like to talk about the future, because I think we can create our future, understanding what's going on, which kind of potentials we have. So we are overcoming this control system, transmutating our chart, right? As you transmutate your mental and emotional patterns, you transmutate the position of the stars as well, because the stars, they're plasma, right? So you're water, right? And your thoughts are water as well. So you will affect, the stars, and not the stars will affecting you anymore. It's a kind of escaping the matrix.
Oh yeah, that's where, in a way, where you come in like astrotherapist, like, because it like looks like, how you explain, no, the all the birth charts and all those planets and stars are aligned, and they can literally, as you say, it's a blueprint of that person, and it's so predictive because we know the cycles are going to be the same in the future. So they'll literally predict what is going to be happening with the person or the situation or a country or whatever, if you look at it in an astrological, astronomical way. It's just pure science. In reality, it's just science, because everything is moving about. But it's a good way of seeing it, because so as you come in where you say, no, we're going to change the stars, I'm going to change my stars or my planets are saying that it could happen, this could happen, or this thing is happening. So literally putting that energy and changing it into your favor. There's no magic, people. So I don't think there's a lot of difference in astrology and astronomy, because even astrology, or it's a way, because everything, as Harry was saying, we connect with the plasma, with the stars, and every planet and every vibration and the magnetic field of every planet that is coming and reaching us. We have a harmonic color of your clothes, harmonic vegetables, harmonic days. It's not. It's nothing. It's not magic. They say that the millionaires don't use astrology. The billionaires use astrology. Why? Because it's no magic science. It's no fantasy. It's very easy to demonize and say, this is magic. This is, it's nothing, man. Everything is moving around you. Or most of your festivals and everything is depend on those stars and on those luminaries. So why it's any problem to work with the energy of the planets and the moon and the star and everything that's moving around us and be in harmony and find the harmonic way of doing things, right?
Yeah, the calendars are control systems, right? Look at Passover. Passover every year is in a different date, right? Why? Because it's they're taking the moon, as accounting the moon. So that's the day we Passover, for example. So it's a control system. The luminaries are a control system, so we have to overcome in order to be free, to free ourselves from this matrix, right? Because it doesn't exist. They're just projections, right? And the magnetic pole is moving. As soon as the magnetic pole is moving, we will see new luminaries and you will see new continents, away from the Antarctica. Pay attention that there is a difference between the North Pole, which is the only pole we have, right, and the magnetic pole. Is going to the same position as it was 24,000 years ago, before the creation.
We will see, yeah, we will see, because it says, for example, in some of the documentaries about those lost history of light, it speaks about this, that the movement of the poles and pole shape, it mentions about that.
It's the creation we are talking about, and Enoch is talking about. It's an Adamic creation, right?
Yeah, Abrahamic.
Abrahamic and Adamic, because Adam is before, the Adamic race, right, was created.
Yeah, Adami.
Yeah, we went through another races in here before the creation, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we have discussed it sometime that we can't think that we are the only human race living on this plane. We have to be really ignorant to think that we are the only species that live here. I think in some of our podcasts we did mention that there are so many kind of even humanoids living on these planes that we cannot even count. We cannot even imagine, because we speak about those five race we know about, black, white, brown, yellow, and red, and a few here and there, and the rest is mixed. Yeah, but there is so many different kinds of humanoid that exist, and different timelines, as you say, Harry, could be there are on different timeline with different could be possible, with their own sun, maybe, with their own.
No, but if you go to the movie Avatar, they were just describing, Hyperborea, how it was before the Genesis, before this creation. No sun and no moon, and no luminaries, to control them. It was a free world before those parasites took up power.
But there, for example, in Avatar, you can see that there are time of the day and then there is time in the night. So it's a way. Maybe it shows just the Avatar in a way. It's a way of showing, good way to show that what could still exist in part of the earth, and there we cannot reach them, they cannot reach her. Maybe the elite can, maybe the people who are much more technologically possible to reach, and could be possible. This could be the past, which speaks about like in the ancient giant trees, and no forest on flat earth, and so could be this part of the world was before the real Eden. Maybe the Eden is in the north, or maybe this Pandora is still much ahead, or it doesn't exist anymore. Everything is possible.
Yeah, but the movies, it's showing you a kind of negative priming, right? Not telling you, but the previous humanity, before the Adam and Eve, and before they put in orbit the sun and the moon, there were other civilizations. The Rig Vedas talking about that things as well, right?
Yeah, But the thing is, Harry, there doesn't have to be another sun and moon, or the sun and moon was just created during the Adam time, because we are speaking, even the Adam timeline they're speaking about is not that much or all in comparison to other scriptures, right? So,
Yeah. So before the
It's
Adam, the race, there were other races living on Earth, and some of them they went to other continents, maybe, or maybe underground, because there is a sun and the moon underground as well. At least a sun, underground sun, and there is the black sun that makes the electromagnetic circuit with the sun and the moon as well.
oh yeah, there are definitely much more different species living on this earth right now, and even in subterranean. Definitely, it's been shown in different all cultures, and every culture shows about different beings from above and from below, right? So,
I'm
and
going
with
to the North.
technologies and way of surviving that we cannot even really imagine, right? So if we have idea that this could even be a technology that we are living in one technology right now that we don't understand, and we see it in a way of like magic or whatever could be, right? Or in a spiritual aspect, and it's much more, it's just mechanic, it's just machine, who knows, right? Or technology or digital or animation, right? So
Look at the North Pole. The 4 continents on the North Pole. In each continent are living different races. You see the Pygmean continent, which are humanoids the size of maybe 3 feet tall average, and there are giants and different races in each of those continents as well. That's the reason we can't navigate. We can't land on there, and they don't fly through the North Pole because they want you to know another continents that existing in there. They want you to see it.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah, that's why they want to control us for sure. They don't want us to know anything. They don't even want us to know all the real reserves and everything that exist on or even in the countries that are. It's it's not really prohibited, but they just prohibit the zones and like large area of lands and what they're doing there, right? So yeah, you wanted to add something, Evelyn, before? Yeah, go ahead.
no, I lost my train of thought. So,
Oh yeah, we went.
You know what I was thinking, guys. You're talking about after Adam, and it reminds me of being like atomic. So maybe we're just here in that kind of form. Just whoever's here is here. That's all there is to it. And don't forget, we can only hear and see, like what they're saying is about 10% of the light and sound waves that are available. So we're missing a lot that's right in front of us. We know that for a fact. And that they give us numbers, and that I would bump those numbers up because that's what they gave us. I don't trust anything they really say. So I'm just thinking the
Yeah.
atom being atomic and physical rather than, there could be light beings, there could be shadow beings, and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all.
Adam was created as a light being, but because he disobeyed and sinned, he
gave him physical form.
Yeah, gave him physical form.
Oh, okay.
Because he was told, if you eat from the tree, you will die. Right. Well, that's because they were already light beings. They were already like the angels, immortal.
Okay.
But once they ate from the fruit, then they were sort of made mortal. So in a sense, on that day he died, or he started to die because he wasn't going to live forever anymore. That's why they were expelled from the garden, because there was another tree, and that's the tree of life. And if they had eaten from the tree of life, he would have lived forever in sin. So they had to get them out
Yeah,
of the
but
party.
they also speak about some different races that evolved from there, the serpent race, and and the ones there's so many different. Yeah.
You can see it in Hieronymus, Bosch, describing the Eden. How was that time? If you see those pictures.
Oh yeah. But it's just Adam cannot be our beginning. I think it's a part of the belief we all have. Different religion have, and it's all good. But we can really think that that's the real starting of the earth, because there are a lot of things that it's for the humans or the humanity, it's quite difficult to understand, and see that what else could be possible. As we spoke also before, this is like limiting the the power of the creator, of the creators, or whatever you want to call it, that what we can just define is what exists, and
Yes,
that's
indeed.
it. Yeah.
What we have to think is that eternity is not only the line forward in front of us, but eternity also works backwards. So, I mean,
Cool.
it's not hard to believe that there have been more creations before our own. And we don't know about that because, our creation is in this timeline.
Exactly.
In this 6,000 years. That is our block. And what came before, if there was anything, we don't know about that one. It's just
but there are scripture which speaks about these realms which are much more evolved, with much more evolved people, with much more evolved technology, with much more evolved in a spiritual way, and it also explains the way these places are, the way these beings live, the way these places could be, the dimensions of these places, everything is there if we really want to look into, but it's that we just know this is our world, this is what we understand, this is what we can define, so this is the eternity, this is the reality, nothing else.
Right.
Make me think about the make me think of all the people that find these melted buildings in the mountains. I mean, where do those fit in this creation? I mean, when did that happen?
Yeah, in that history and timeline, exactly.
It didn't happen in this lifetime. It could have happened pre-Adam, it's pre-Adamite creation that it destroyed in some way. And when the earth was made, brought up out of the waters, it came up with what was already destroyed from the a pre-creation creation.
Exactly.
Those stories they're really interesting. Those melted brick mountains. It's very, very curious stories behind that.
Yeah, I think the Book of Enoch, I know one of the books in the New Testament, in the regular Bible has it, but it talks about the elements melting with fervent heat. And we look around and see some of these old buildings with melted bricks. I mean, that has to be some serious heat to melt a brick.
I have a set of melted bricks.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. I mean, you look in the Midwest and the west of the United States, or in the deserts in Africa. I mean, there's definitely signs that there was some massive heat here on the Earth that just totally obliterated things. Some people believe that the mountains are melted buildings. I think the mountains might also be giant trees that fell over. So, I mean, we don't know, but the Book of Enoch definitely talks about things melting as like an apocalyptic event that happened, like you guys are saying, before our timeline. And who knows how many timelines before us? I think the Navajo
Right.
or the native, some of the Native Americans says this has happened at least 5 times before us, or we're in the 5th round of some kind of creation or the 5th reset now. But it's interesting stuff.
That's for sure.
We have to understand that when in Bible talking about Adam, it's not talking about a human being, a person. It's talking about the entire Adamic race. Not talking about one person, one Adam and one Eve. Talking about different races: the Adamic race, the Ebonic race, and
the serpent race, and also there.
Because the scriptures, they were suppressed and they was modified in order to keep us, into this matrix.
It really was, all of it. It's a lot of fun, guys, being here with everybody, trying to figure this stuff out. Thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah. So,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Harry.
No, this is a puzzle. We will spend our entire life trying to figure out the things because it's never ending.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, Enoch is quite interesting, and part you could take scripture from any different scriptures, and we look into it, and especially from a flat earth perspective, there's so much of information that it's given there in a way that it just says that it's a realm, it's a realm with different levels and beings everywhere, and giants, and the way the whole system works, and everything is so precise, the sun, the moon, everything. So it's, yeah.
How big were those people? How tall was Enoch?
How tall?
Yeah.
How tall? I think he was probably very normal size.
Okay, like our size, normal. 6 foot.
No, but some people they speak about Noah being very tall, maybe 10 meters. So if he was grandfather of Noah, and if it was like that, if it was a giant, he would have been really big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's possible that back then people were normally taller than we are now, but there were also giants, So what I know is you can even Google the tomb of Abel, and he was only a boy, I think 15, 16 when he was killed by Cain. And there's a photo of his tomb, and that tomb is about 6 meters long. So yeah.
6 meters?
I've seen
I think it's 6 meters long. Yeah, I mean, you can Google it. Abel, tomb of Abel in Damascus, I think.
Oh yeah, there are many. Yeah, go ahead, Keith.
I tend to believe that everybody from that race before us was much larger, and it makes a lot more sense when you start talking about the Elohim or the sons of God having sex with the women of men or the daughters of men. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that there's somebody that's a 5-foot girl trying to have sex with somebody that's 15 feet tall or taller. But it makes a lot more sense if you think that the people back then, during the time of Abraham and Isaac and Joseph and all of them, that they were possibly 20 or 30 feet tall.
Oh yeah, there are also in Asia there are tombs of some saints which are like 15, 20 meter tombs, same like how Evelyn is mentioning, literally, yeah. And also like in many different cultures they speak about the earlier races living much more, not the medieval time, but much earlier. We're speaking about there were.
Right.
When there was not so much contamination, with everything, because
in Amos 2, they were talking about the Amorites, and whose height was like the height of the cedars, so like the cedar trees, They are
Oh.
quite tall there, the cedar trees. So you can imagine a giant of, I don't know, 30 meters or more. I mean, the cedars in Lebanon, they can reach, I mean, a couple of 100 meters. So those were the giants that they were confronting when they were, looking for land.
Exactly. And if you had these giants, even the trees had to be giants, the food have to be
Yeah.
giants too, they're not going to be eating our kind of size of pumpkins, if they were giants, for example,
Yeah,
or an apple
Yeah, those trees were the trees that the angels actually cut down so that the giants wouldn't climb on them to save themselves. I'm going to leave it a bit because of the 200 angels that came down. They chose a wife for himself, and they began to go into them to mate with them, and they taught them sorcery and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And these women became pregnant and gave birth to great giants, whose height reached up to 3,000 ells, and that is very tall. These giants consumed all the food, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. They also began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. So
That's what they're doing now.
Of it.
Yeah, they're doing what they're doing now, but not as giants, at normal, like our sizes, but doing the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. These are the first generation giants from the angels and the women. They were really, really tall. I mean, if you are acquainted with the story of the clash of the Titans, I mean, these Titans were, a couple of 100 meters tall, and those are the kinds of giants that we're talking about here when the first generation offsprings of the angels, and those are the ones that you hear about or you read about. Oh, there was famine here and famine there, and because the giants were eating everything. So and also when God says, you have to go to this place and you have to kill everybody here because this land belongs to you, and you have to kill the men, the women, the children, the animals, and you're like, whoa, why all that carnage? And that was because they were all corrupted and all the DNA was corrupted there.
Yeah, same thing like it's happening right now. So yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Actually, I was going to say, on that part, I think it was 2 days ago. I was just scanning Facebook, and you get all these newspaper articles and so. And one of the articles was about a change in law for DNA experiments, not experiments, but for DNA
modification. No.
Well,
modifying something crazy. Yeah.
It will probably lead to that, but for investigation, DNA investigation, embryonic laws, and all that. And it was also mentioned for the hybrids, and also the possibility of a human animal hybrid. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I reading now?
You see all the Hollywood people talk about their clones?
Oh yeah.
I think it's their job to say that. Everyone, they pop up once in a while.
Yeah,
and it's just to soften us up, though. The movies now they're really they're starting to say it.
They're starting to say it because they've probably done it already. This DNA or hybridization and all that, but they have to bring it out at one
Right.
point. But we're gonna,
They have to tell us, so it's legal now.
yeah,
Because now, if we don't protest, we consent.
exactly.
In ways.
Yeah, they're doing quite a lot of different mix of all kind between plants, fungi, and human DNA. So it's already there is something, but
Yeah.
nothing is very natural. But yeah.
Yeah, they have to bring it out in the open, because it's probably not going to be that long before we're going to be seeing, strange things happening.
Stranger Things.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, no, they ramped up everything in the past few years, 10 years. Everything's like quadrupled, and not just money, not just the price of things either, just like the craziness of all of it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, and the other thing, also one thing I wanted to mention about the Enoch is about these, like the giant trees we spoke, the giants we spoke, and also I think speaks about watching the ends of the earth. How can you watch the ends of the earth if you're also on a ball, right? So
Yes.
and how can you have giant trees on a ball, on a globe? How is it gonna work? Imagine from the half of the ball you have a tree that's going hundreds of miles on both sides. It's not happening. The weight ratio and everything on a ball with those kind of size of the trees, I think it could be also one of the reasons that it's not so much in the mainstream media about these giant trees, because it's you have giant trees you're seeing very far away too, so.
Yeah, the giant tree in the North Pole, one seen from all the extremities of the Earth. That's what Enoch was saying. So only on a flat Earth model works.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the Enoch is not only speaking about, like, it's literally saying about the cosmology, the flat Earth cosmology, the constellation, the geocentric stationary, with all the luminaries moving out, the giants, the giant trees, and the different portals, the winds, the equinox, the days of the sun, the moon, the phases, the ratios, the fractions, and how it's working, the lights. It's a flat Earth book, in a way. It's also the way our realm is, in a way, our plane is, right? So that's why maybe it's not really, given that, but it's an important piece of scripture, and especially the way, if it's true about the timeline they speak about of what it is, because it's one of our, there are not many different things which you could hang on like this from the antiquity, where it's real evidence of our cosmos, our Earth, our way everything works and is, and right.
Bro, everything was flat Earth related and cosmology related before before this nonsense was 1400. And when it started, it was all flat, and they took all of this good stuff away from us, way more than we probably even think. The stars seem to be so important. What's going on up there is very important to us in more ways than we're probably thinking. When to plant, what to do with the seeds before we plant, when to talk to people, when not to talk to them, when to fall in love, when not, all of it, everything we're doing is probably and is probably being able to be directed by what's going on in the sky. I bet you. Very important.
Yeah, but that's why Enoch is also so precisely speaking about the heavens, right?
Right.
And in a way,
and how old that is, right? Man, that's a long time ago. With such detail and accuracy and precision. Pretty amazing. It's how we should be living our lives, is according to what's going on above us every day, every night.
Oh yeah, there's certain time for everything, right? So
yeah, we even have a saying. I don't know what other countries say it, but like, if you're gonna do something that's probably not gonna happen, you say something like, "Yeah, all the stars got to line up for that to happen." You know, little sayings like that still stick around. When the stars line up, that they don't move, so they're already lined up. It's just a matter of where they are.
oh yeah, we are since we are born, we are like we are seeing up, to and everything moving around us. We are perplexed by the way everything happens, right? And it's always there, and yeah, but in reality, like life does move because of these luminaries, because if there is no day, there is no the process of the sun heating up the atmosphere. The plants are not gonna grow. We're not gonna eat. The whole ecosystem is not gonna work. So we are really dependent in a way of all the luminaries and everything. In a way of what we are in this dimension as we physical being, because there are beings that we could exist without this luminary or with this heat, or as we spoke about, in realms below or above, but what we are, what we live in this three-dimensional, what we perceive is because we can survive in this kind of environment that is exactly built for us, because so that's why there is really that importance of these luminaries being connected to us in a way, because
Sure, they're not there for no reason. They're not there for nothing. So it's got to be important. We're not here for no reason either. They just took all our ability to really comprehend that reason.
exactly. And if it's natural or technology, whatever it is important for our survival, right?
Sure, yeah, regardless of where it comes from, it's there, and so are we. And all of it's important, like the trees and the animals. It's all important. Like Keith was saying, the animals might not say, "Hey, what's the moon doing up there?" It might be different for them, but it's important for us. Look at what's going on throughout history with the stars and the moon and eclipses and all that. It's amazing. And then you get these Neil Jackass guys who just push and they just shove it down your throat so bad, they shove it in your face constantly with these fantastic stories. He will not debate a flat earther in public, and the reason why is, he says, there's a little 5-minute video, and he holds up 4 fingers and counts 2 different things. First of all, and it's just strange, but he won't do it. No, he won't do it because he thinks he's got the objective truth, and he's afraid to lose with somebody who has more charisma, who can tell a better story, and he won't do it. He will not do it. I love it.
We can see that these people just make up things just right there in the moment. They don't even do their freaking homework. This is the thing. That's why it's so fake. So you don't need to be like an expert. On planet. Anybody can with these people. If they just are really capable of doing a real debate, because other than bullying and insults, these people cannot really speak about, because all they can just say is, it's there, go look it up, it's there, it says, So, yep. Anyway, guys, so awesome. Enoch, the Book of Enoch, awesome, some amazing details to ponder, and says a lot about our intelligent design in a way, so whoever the designer or designers are or whatever, it's a personal way of seeing it, but it's quite interesting. And as a part of research, so we didn't try to connect it to in a religious way, so as a flat earth perspective, it's have some amazing details to which really reflects what our earth could and be and It's a simple but compact, complex but simple, in a way, because truth is always simple, no fake maths and fake formulas and pseudoscience, So anyway, guys, we're gonna having our last thoughts on the topic today, and we're gonna be wrapping up, guys. Who wants to go first?
I'll say goodnight to everybody. Thanks, guys, for being here. Vikka, thanks for throwing the show. This was a really fascinating topic, and we could probably do another few on them eventually. I bet you. It makes me think. It makes me think that all these guys are connected. All the elite, they're in the same boat, and they're keeping us out of all the good stuff. And these stars and the planets, sun and moon, are extremely important. That's why there's such convolution behind it in the narrative. And think about it, guys. What do they have us or society fascinated with? Television stars. And let's see, you see the connection there? It's so backwards, that little connect the dots right there for me, connecting the stars to the stars, because that's what we should be watching. And there's probably really, truly amazing, fantastic reasons why we should be watching the heavens instead of the stars on TV. And I guess that's most of my take on it. I want to mention, I've mentioned it before, but a fantastic movie about giants is Jack the Giant Slayer. It's a really good movie. I would recommend that all day if you're into watching movies about giants. And Vikka, thanks for the show, brother. It was really great to be here. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Hope you had a good time. You found it interesting, and definitely hope you come back. Have a good week, guys.
Oh yeah, Gene. Thanks, brother. Always pleasure. Yep, the Giants, they do it in a lot of movies too, because there is some truth to that. That's why we all also, like even everybody like giant movies too, or in a way, so, and they try it in a robotic way, in an alien way, but they're always there, they're keeping it there. Yeah. So
we're surrounded by all of this stuff. What I just noticed too is how I kind of knock Hollywood and then I recommended Hollywood right after that, though. Kind of weird.
Awesome, brother. Yeah.
All right, bro. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. Who's going next? Keith, Harry, Evelyn, who wants to go next?
I'll go. This is Keith. I know the sponsor of the show is Real Truth Seekers, not Real Truth Believers. And I just put that back out there again that, I'm not a believer, and hopefully you're not a believer either, but you're just a seeker trying to figure this out. There's a lot that I know about flat Earth and the shape of the surface of the Earth and how some of the luminaries move in the sky. But I think what Gene is saying is real important, that, the sun, moon, and stars probably have a lot more to do with our physical and spiritual lives than we realize. And that's kind of the next chapter for me in my study and my learning is to learn more about that. This Christmas time, instead of, Santa Claus and the tree, we'll be talking more about the pole star with my kids and the stars rotating around the pole star, like the star on the Christmas tree and the lights going around the Christmas tree. And just the fact that it's a tree with a star over the top, just like, the Rupus Negre, that might have been a giant tree that was cut down, but the pole star is directly over it. There's so much more to learn. So seek and you will find, and that's what I'm trying to do in my life. I encourage you guys to do the same thing. Just be a seeker and not so much of a believer. But yeah, Vikka, thanks. It was a good show. Enjoyed being with you guys again, and we'll talk to you next week.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. And there's so much. It's so much, because the more we know, the more questions arrive, and the more we need to know. So we can. This creation is so complex that we could have few lives, and even maybe we wouldn't understand everything. So yeah, that's the beauty and the mystery. Awesome, brother. Who's going next?
Up to where did I get? Because my Wi-Fi keeps kicking me out.
Yeah, Evelyn, last thoughts about the show? Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to say it again, just in case. If anyone wants to know more about the Book of Enoch, what I would recommend is to go to Rob Skeeper's YouTube channel and follow the Genesis Enoch study with Zen Garcia. And because it gets a bit complicated, and it's good to know where in the book, where in the Bible it all links to. And I just found it a lot of fun to learn over the giants and the Nephilim and all that stuff of the hybrids. And okay, I'm quick about it because I don't know when my Wi-Fi is gonna say is gonna kick me out again. So it was really interesting today. And good night, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Evelyn. It was a pleasure to have you here and all your inputs. Thank you. Harry?
Yeah, I really enjoy here. I just want to say something about the Nephilims. Nephilims are the fallen ones in Hebrew, and the relation between, the Anunnaki and the Anakim in the Bible. Anunnaki and Anakim have the same roots. Anak in Hebrew means giant or massive, right? And it's interesting when you read the Bible in Hebrew, you find more sense, on what you're reading. And you can find other realms, in between the lines reading the Bible in Hebrew. It's important to read it in the original language, the Bible. So thank you very much for hosting us in your channel. I really enjoyed, and learned a lot from all of you people here. And have a beautiful week. See you next week.
Oh yeah. Thank you, brother. Awesome input. Yes, like any other scriptures we could see and take, Enoch is no different. The truth is right there in front of us if we want to see it. Yeah, and apart from the shape of the earth, also about the giants and the giant trees, and most of the different civilizations or the scripture speaks about it in their own way or in their own versions. And that's what we are trying to do here, to see all from all different perspectives, all the different truth is out there to be looked into and decoded. And, so thank you everybody for being here, and make sure you guys check us out next week for the next show of Heliopsychosis podcast. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Harry. And thank you, everybody in the chat. Bye, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Astronauts to the moon.
Houston, we have a problem.